Hello Year 12 and welcome to the third video here for our first HSC topic. We're looking at inflation and appreciation today. Now inflation is when the cost of goods and services increases over time. You might have heard old people like me talking about how much cheaper things were in their day. Yeah, well, the reason that has changed is because of inflation. For a deeper explanation of why inflation occurs, probably better off talking to one of our wonderful economics people. However, it is a general phenomenon that the cost of goods and services increases over time. And given some rate of inflation, an inflation rate, you'll even hear that talked about, perhaps spoken of on the news every now and again. If we're given an inflation rate, which is usually somewhere between 2 and 3%, then we can predict or estimate the cost of those goods and services at some stage in the future. We do that using the compound interest formula. Appreciation is similar, but with appreciation, we're not talking so much about the cost as the value of an asset, something like perhaps a house or some shares in a company, that you could buy those and over time they become more valuable and you could sell them again at that later date for a profit. Right? I can't buy a sausage roll in 1997 and sell the same one for a profit today. Nope. No, it would cost me more for a sausage roll today than it used to. It cost me more for a house than it used to. But when we're talking about appreciation, it's not how much more it costs, it's the increase in value so that I could hold on to it during that time and sell it for a profit. But both inflation and appreciation are calculated using the compound interest formula. So let's have a look at some examples here. In example 7, we're purchasing some property, a unit here. We've got a rate of interest and we've got the number of terms, and there's no complication there with quarters or months or anything like that. So we could say that that's going to be our present value. That's my rate of interest, and that's my number of terms. No adjustments need to be made, so my future value of that property is equal to 690,000 outside of 1 plus 9 over 100 to the power of 7, right? And I pull out my calculator. Okay, punch that into the calculator. You can see there on the screen just the same as it's written on my page, and that produces my answer, right, of about $1.26 million. So it was about 700,000 gone up to 1.26 million. Okay, that's a fairly fast rate of appreciation, but these things happen with property from time to time. So let's write that down. Now I've written that to the nearest dollar. If we look at the information in the question, both my rate of interest or appreciation and the number of terms, they're both one significant figure. So there's the answer is really not as accurate as all of that, right? But nonetheless, I've written it to the nearest dollar. If we're trying to predict what the value of that unit is 7 years in the future, we can't do that to the nearest dollar, nothing like that. But to say somewhere between 1.2 and 1.3 million dollars, perhaps, right, given the information, that's more reasonable. Anyhow, moving along to example 8, I've got $650 for a clothes dryer, right? If the inflation rate is 2.6%, how much would it cost to buy a similar clothes dryer 1 year later? Okay, so again, there's my present value is 650. My number of terms is a simple 1, and my rate is 2.6%. So my future value is 650 outside of 1 plus 2.6 over 100. Now I could say it's to the power of 1, but that's not really going to do much for me, is it? So look, look, let's write it in. I'm not going to type it into the calculator though. But here we go. Out comes the calculator. We'll type that in. Right, I'm just going to do something a bit faster here. I'm going to go 2.6 divided by 100. Whoops, that's not 100, is it? Equals, right, plus 1 times 650. Of course, you can type it into your calculator exactly as it appears on the screen, on the page there, but that's probably a little faster. So that's suggesting to me that it's going to cost about $667. $67. What is the price? Okay. And finally here, for example 8, and this will be the last one for the video, the price of a $400 clothes dryer after 3 years of inflation, right, at a rate of 3.2% this time. So again, very similarly, my future value is 400 outside of 1 plus my rate of 3.2 over 100. That's all raised to the power this time of 3. Okay, and into the calculator, and here we can see that's about $440 thereabouts. Rightio. So just to recap these things, inflation is how the cost of things goes up over time. Appreciation is how the value of an asset increases over time. We calculate both of them using the compound interest formula. Rightio. Well, you know what to do. If you've got any questions, jot them down so you don't forget. Bring them to class, and we'll sort you out. Rightio. Thanks very much.